Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. And welcome back to the Quantum Soul.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
Today we're going to be tackling discipline. You know how much it really takes to achieve success and shape your life. And for this one, we've got a really interesting motivational speech. This speaker goes all in on the idea that discipline is the one thing. It's the key differentiator between winners and losers. And they bring a ton of energy to this speech. It's intense and uses some really compelling metaphors, like comparing discipline to a muscle that needs constant exercise. And one of the biggest things that stood out to me was this idea that the easy path is actually longer and more painful in the long run. So what are your initial thoughts on that idea? Does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful way to think about it. You know, it kind of flips the script on how we usually view discipline. Most people think of it as like restriction and deprivation, but this speech presents it as a tool for empowerment and something that leads to long-term fulfillment. Like if you think about it, when you exercise a muscle, it gets stronger, it gets more capable. And it's the same way with discipline. When you practice discipline, you strengthen your ability to make choices that align with your goals, even when those choices are difficult. And that leads to a feeling of accomplishment and a sense of freedom that you just wouldn't experience otherwise.
That's a great point. I love that connection between discipline and freedom. You don't often hear those two things paired together. And this speech also talks a lot about discomfort, like really leaning into the idea that discomfort is a necessary part of growth. They use this analogy of climbing a mountain to get this point across, emphasizing that you're the only one responsible for reaching the summit.
Yeah, that's such a good analogy because it really highlights that growth rarely happens when you're comfortable. If you want to reach new heights, literally or metaphorically, you need to embrace challenges and push yourself. You have to go beyond what feels easy. And just like climbing a mountain, there are no shortcuts to genuine success. The speech makes that very clear. Real success requires consistent effort and perseverance. Have you ever been tempted by a shortcut? What happened?
Oh yeah, totally. I think we've all fallen for that at some point or another.
Yeah.
And it's just so tempting to look for that quick fix, that easy way out. But just like this speech says, those shortcuts can actually lead to more problems later on. And speaking of taking the long view, this speech is a big proponent of personal responsibility. It basically says that you can't blame external factors for your lack of success.
Yeah, that's such a crucial point. It's all about recognizing that we have agency in our own lives. It's true that we can't always control our circumstances, but we can control how we respond to them. And taking ownership of your choices and actions, that's incredibly empowering because it allows you to move forward with intention and purpose rather than feeling like you're just at the mercy of fate.
Exactly. It's like the speech is saying stop making excuses and start taking charge. And one way the speech recommends doing that is through organization. They're a huge advocate for being organized in every aspect of your life, like having a place for everything, getting things done on time, and fulfilling promises.
Why do you think organization is so closely linked to discipline?
Well, I think organization gives you a framework. It makes discipline choices easier. When you've got systems in place and a clear plan of action, you're less likely to procrastinate or get sidetracked. Organization just helps you stay focused on your goals, and it helps you manage your time more effectively. You end up with a feeling of control over your time and tasks, and that feeling of control ultimately leads to greater freedom. And the speech actually makes this point very clearly. Discipline is the price of freedom.
That's such a powerful statement. It really changes the way you think about discipline. Instead of being restricted, it's about creating structure. That structure allows you to achieve more and experience more freedom in your life.
Exactly. And it's interesting how this speech ties this back to the idea of discipline as daily training. And not just for your body, but for your mind too. It's about consciously developing the habits and mindset that support your goals.
Yeah, it's like that famous quote, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Every day we make choices that either move us closer to our goals or further away. And it's those consistent daily actions that really determine our long-term success.
Absolutely. It's about building momentum through consistent practice, which brings us back to that discipline as a muscle analogy. You're not going to see results from working out if you only go to the gym once a month. It's the same with discipline. You have to show up consistently even when you don't feel like it. The speech even uses the example of diets and exercise to illustrate this point. They're simply ineffective without consistent discipline.
That's so true. It's about building those consistent daily disciplines, whether it's waking up early, prepping your meals, sticking to a workout routine, or tackling your to-do list. The speech argues that these seemingly small actions actually create efficient days, which ultimately build into lasting success. What are your thoughts on that? Do you find that having structure in your day helps you be more disciplined?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, having that structured routine helps me stay focused. It helps me avoid decision fatigue because when you have a plan, you don't have to waste energy. You don't have to think about what to do next. It frees up your mental bandwidth for the important stuff. And you know, it's interesting how this speech connects this idea of structure back to freedom. Remember that line about about discipline being the price of freedom. It's saying that when you master yourself through discipline, you actually gain more control over your life.
That's so true. It's totally reframing how we usually think about discipline. Discipline isn't about being restricted. It's about creating a pathway to more autonomy, more liberation in your life. It kind of reminds me of the Stoic philosophers. They believe that true freedom comes from mastering your thoughts and your emotions.
Oh yeah, that's a great connection. The Stoics believe that if you could control your inner world, you wouldn't be so susceptible to what's happening around you, to the whims of external circumstances. And this speech kind of echoes that. It says, I don't want anything to control me but myself. And to achieve this, I must be very disciplined. It's a powerful statement about taking ownership of yourself.
It really is. And it speaks to this idea that discipline isn't about punishment or deprivation. It's about aligning your actions with your values, aligning them with your goals. The speech uses this example of choosing not to drink or smoke, not from a place of superiority, but from a desire for self-mastery and freedom.
Exactly. It's about empowering yourself, making choices that empower you rather than diminish your sense of control, building a life that you don't need to escape from, a life where you feel like you're in command.
I love that. It makes me think about my own life. And the choices I make every day, are they contributing to a sense of freedom and fulfillment, or are they holding me back? This speech really makes you ask yourself those tough questions.
It does. It encourages you to really look at your choices and see if they're aligned with your long-term vision for yourself. And it emphasizes that discipline isn't a destination, it's a process. It's an ongoing process. Just like training a muscle, you need to practice discipline consistently to see results.
You know, it's like they say, motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. And the speech is clear that this applies to everything, from your health to your career to your relationships.
It does. The speech talks about how diets and exercise are useless without discipline. It says that any goal requires effort and commitment. It's not about finding a magic bullet. It's about showing up and doing the work.
Exactly. And it's not about making these massive changes all at once. The speech actually highlights the power of basic principles applied over and over again. Things like waking up at a certain time, prepping meals, sticking to your habits, and working through your to-do list. It says that these small actions done consistently can lay the foundation for remarkable success. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's so important. Consistency is key. It's not about being perfect. It's about making the effort every day. It's like compound interest. Small deposits over time lead to huge growth. And when you apply that to discipline, you start building momentum. One positive action leads to another. And eventually, you've created a lifestyle that supports your goals.
It's like building a positive feedback loop. And it's not just about willpower. It's about putting systems in place that make it easier to choose the right thing.
Absolutely. You're setting yourself up for success by creating routines and habits that line up with your vision. You're removing the temptation to make impulsive decisions and creating an environment that encourages you to make choices that serve you best.
This speech is really giving us a roadmap, a blueprint for how to build a more disciplined and fulfilling life.
It is. It's a call to action. It's about taking control and embracing the challenge of discipline and reaping the rewards of freedom and fulfillment that come with it.
And it reminds us that discipline isn't about punishment. It's about empowering yourself. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. What a powerful message. But before we wrap up, I just want to remind you all to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. That there's a lot more to unpack in this speech, where we'll continue to explore these powerful ideas. So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into this speech about discipline, it's clear that it's not just about achieving goals. It's about embracing a mindset of always growing. The speech actually uses the phrase, constant growth is a part of life. So it seems like discipline is more about the journey than any particular destination.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's about committing yourself to self-improvement, always working to be a better version of yourself. And it goes back to that idea that discipline isn't about a quick fix. The speech is very clear on this point. It says that lasting change takes consistent effort over time. And it even cautions against relying on things like events or seminars for motivation. They can be inspiring for sure, but if you don't apply those principles to your daily life, that change won't last.
Exactly. Motivation might get you started, but it's discipline that keeps you going. It's about making discipline part of your lifestyle.
Exactly. It's about weaving those disciplined actions into your everyday life. And it's important to remember that discipline isn't just mental. It's about your physical actions too. The speech uses this analogy of training your mind and body, highlighting the importance of both mental and physical discipline.
That makes me think of that ancient Greek idea of arete, Excellence in all areas of life, physical and moral. It's about striving for wholeness, finding that balance, and cultivating discipline in every part of yourself.
That's a great comparison. And the speech really emphasizes that this pursuit of excellence often means making tough choices. It talks about choosing the harder path, the uphill climb, and doing the right thing even when it's really challenging.
It's like resisting that urge to take the easy way out and committing to the journey of growth, even though it can be long and difficult, but it's ultimately so rewarding.
Yeah, and it's about recognizing that you have the power to choose that path. The speech uses some really strong language here. It talks about rising aggressively and boldly and conquering every challenge life throws your way. It's a real call to action, like unleash your inner strength and use the power of discipline to change your life.
So to sum it all up, what we've learned today from this deep dive is that discipline is about so much more than willpower. It's about building systems that support your goals, making those conscious choices consistently, and embracing that journey of constant growth. It's about taking control of your life and creating the freedom to become the best version of yourself.
And remember, discipline isn't something you're just born with or without. It's like a muscle. You can develop it with practice, and the rewards are worth the effort.
Couldn't agree more. As you go about your day, think about the areas of your life where you could use a little more discipline. What are some small steps you can take today to start building those positive habits, to get closer to your goals? Remember, every act of discipline, no matter how small, is a step towards creating the life you want.
And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video
Yes.
with anyone who might be interested in these hidden wonders of the universe.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep questioning,
Yeah,
and keep expanding your awareness.
that's it.
There are 2 videos on your screen. Click one to continue your journey.